Okay, thank you so much for your time. Today we are talking about leveling up your character. Leveling up your character is a pretty straightforward concept, right? The more you do in the game, you are most likely going to be leveling up. It's as simple as that. Now, if you run in circles in town, you're not going to level up. If you go out of town and start getting into some fights, you'll be rewarded for fighting. That's great. Quests will give you experience. Killing will give you experience. There are different ways to buff the experience you gain. You're going to do that through elixirs and incense. Elixirs and incense can be crafted through your alchemist vendor in town, and you get some more XP if you use an incense or a potion. Great example, I got a couple incense items going right now. Let's turn on a potion as well, get a little more of a boost. There are special ways that you can craft special potions. You can stack them and stack them. There's a couple of different ways to kind of double and triple stack your XP gain. One other way that you can do it is through, it's a seasonal event, that if you add to it, you'll get some more XP. So long story short, there are great ways to buff your XP. If you don't do any of that, you can still just go out in the world, fight some baddies, and gain some XP. So I think that's something to always keep in mind. You know, sometimes I'll find myself, oh, I gotta put this potion on, I gotta do the incense, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But the reality is, the more you fight and play and kill and stuff, that's how you're really gonna level up. Yeah, the extra boosts are nice, and they're extremely helpful. But the reality is that as long as you're playing, you're earning XP. There are, philosophies that we'll talk about as well. Speed leveling versus casual leveling. There are ways and places that you can go that are maybe a little bit easier to level up, or maybe a little bit harder. So depending on your level, like maybe you can raise the difficulty of the game you're entering, or maybe try and do like a harder dungeon. These are ways to maximize your XP gains. Now, if you just like fighting really, really difficult content, you probably won't gain as much XP as fast, because if you're fighting difficult content, it's probably going to take you a while. So there is kind of this unwritten rule where finding that sweet spot of being able to kill things fast, but figuring out what the highest difficulty you can kill things on fast with is kind of the way to look at if you want to really kind of push XP. So between adding potions and different ways to passively add XP, going out and killing is always going to be your best bet. You can enter some pretty dense areas at very low levels, and that's really how to level up. You can go full defensive, or as much defense as you can, and still be able to kill things. So don't be shy to just tank up and go fight if you're not comfortable going out into higher difficulties or whatever. And that's leveling up, in just a couple of funky tips to go do it. There are some other ways. If you have friends, or if you have a ton of resource or something, you can trade carries. You can pay someone a bunch of gold or some materials, and they'll carry you in some difficult areas, and you'll get a ton of XP really, really fast. Very, very useful. So that's another way to really level up. Not everyone can do that or can afford it, though. I have been in situations where I'll just ask in like the trade chat, I'll say, can I pay for a run, or is anyone carrying? And a lot of people will. They'll message you and they'll say, hey, do you still need some help? More than happy to do it, that kind of thing. And that's really, really cool. Doesn't always happen in games. So It's actually hit a point where it's not too painful to level up. If you take advantage of all of the ways that you can speed up the process, you can level up actually pretty fast. So that's leveling up in a nutshell. Thank you so much for your time.